Here is a reality that is not enough discussed in the case of an economic collapse. If you can flee, you must do so. You may feel guilty for abandoning your family. However, normal parents and family members will be relieved if you manage to flee your country. An economic collapse is not the same as a war. You can't defend your country. And there's no telling how long the economic collapse will last. Consider Venezuela or Argentina. Generations of people have been sacrificed. In order to protect your money and give you a better chance to flee, here are 4 lessons from my now nearly dead country, Lebanon. The first lesson is to protect yourself from banksters. If your country is on the verge of economic collapse, banks will be your worst enemies. You will face bank freeze issues right away in order to prevent a bank run. And without a doubt, your local currency will be devalued and crazy high inflation will follow. I've presented all of that in this video, which I will link also in the description. In this video, I explain how my $20,000 life saving became essentially only $2,000. If you want to know how it happened, watch this video. But let me repeat the conclusion. You should not keep your life savings in a single currency, especially in just your local currency. You should keep different currencies, but not all in banks. Keep some at home, for example, and for larger amounts that you don't want to keep at home, use banks in different countries. The second lesson is that you can easily diversify the way you hold cash with stockbrokers. Here's a story I heard about a wealthy Jew who fled Nazi Germany while saving some of his money thanks to a clever trick. He basically bought stocks on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange of a large multinational that was also traded in London, such as General Electric. He then went to a German notary and burned his stocks in front of him. The notary then signed a paper stating that the Jew was indeed the owner of the stocks that were burned. The Jew could so flee to London with only the notary paper instead of bags of gold and money, and then go to the headquarters of the company with the notary paper to have stocks issued back to him. This is mostly like a myth. However, this story demonstrates that while stocks are not as liquid as cash, they can be used to flee a country without losing money due to bank account freezing, robbery, or the state confiscating your gold. If you have some stocks or cash on eTORO, for example, even if your country collapses, the money on the broker's platform is far safer than anything you have in your country. If you are able to flee your country for another, you will be able to retrieve your broker's funds by opening a new bank account in your new country and transferring everything there. If you don't already have a broker, I recommend eTORO, and I've included a link in the description. In the same perspective of having cash out of the banks, but not all at your place, the third lesson is that crypto can be a good alternative to brokers. You can even store your cash as stable coins with crypto. These stable coins are coins that are pegged to the dollar and won't fluctuate like Bitcoin or Ethereum. With a cryptocurrency, you can store your stable coins on platforms known as exchanges. They are similar to stockbrokers, but they typically sell cryptocurrency rather than stocks. However, these exchanges are less regulated than stockbrokers, so choose carefully. Binance and FTX are my 2 favorite exchanges, and you can find links to them in the description. With the cryptocurrency, it's also extremely simple to withdraw your stablecoins from any platform and store them on your own without relying on a third party. Ideally speaking, you should hold your crypto keys directly in a cold wallet. You are becoming your own bank. With a cold wallet like Ledger or Trezor, you will never have to deal with a frozen account to prevent a bank run. Actually, nothing beats slipping your ledger into your pocket and flying to a better future if you ever need to fly. It's also a good solution if the US decides to bring democracy to your country by completely embargoing it and seizing money in banks. The best option is most likely USDC with a ledger. There is also a link to a ledger in the description. But be careful. You must conduct your own research and understand the risk. Stablecoin can also fall just like the USD recently. I would also advise against holding any USDT stablecoins due to the high risk of fraudulent behavior. The fourth lesson is that by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel, you will be better prepared than others in the event of an economic collapse. If you are new here, welcome. We are a community of realist investors who hope for the best while bracing for the worst. Now seriously, the fourth lesson is that gold can be used to flee and protect yourself and your money in the event of an economic collapse. As we saw in a previous video, gold is not a good inflation hedge. And as we saw in this video, in some peculiar cases, it can be a good hyperinflation hedge. The descriptions will include links to both videos. This is why you should not hold too much gold, but holding 5% of your money in gold may be a good idea ATM. It will be a special insurance, just as you should have some stock of food and water, guns if possible, and so on. Now, the value of gold is much denser than paper money. To put it another way, a gold bar takes up less space than its equivalent in fiat currency. As a result, gold is easier to transport when fleeing by car comparing to cash. Because cash takes up so much more space, it will be much easier to conceal your gold in your car. Also, if you want to have gold, you should keep some at home, but in a safe. Because of the density of gold value, you don't need a large one. For example, I have about $1,000 in gold in my hand. I keep my gold coins and ledger wallet in a small safe like the one shown on the screen. Again, do not leave your money in your bank account to rot. Banksters will take it as soon as they can, and there isn't much you can do to get it back. Actually, in Lebanon, there is only one clever man, not a politician or a mafia member, who discovered a way to recover frozen dollars on his bank account. But banks don't want you to do it, and you need to be the first to do it. So watch this video to learn the trick. By the way, do you have any plans in case your country goes into an economic collapse like Lebanon? Don't hesitate to let us know by leaving a comment. You can support us on Patreon, where we post some exclusive finance and crypto contents. We stay in touch on Twitter and Instagram.